Good evening, everyone. You're in the spotlight with Brian Garner for this Thursday, June the 29th, 2017. Good to have you all here for our second of two shows this week. This will be an abbreviated edition of In the Spotlight with Brian Gardner. Obviously, we're on the air very, very late. Thank you for staying up with us. I'll get into why in just a moment, but as always, want to remind you all the ways that you can interact and contribute to our show, have your voice heard. Spotlight401 at gmail.com. You can also follow us and tweet us at ITSpotlight401. Please remember to use the hashtag ITSpotlight401. You can also find us on Facebook. Just search for In the Spotlight 411 on Facebook, and then make sure that you like our page once you're on or once you find it. All right, so we're on the air very late tonight. I'm not going to go into too much detail other than I worked late, and then we had a family thing that had to be done. It was unexpected, involved a little bit of babysitting and stuff that we just didn't plan on tonight. So I do want to apologize. If I had known this ahead of time, I would have not done a show tonight. And I was tempted to cancel tonight, but then I said, you know what? This is the last week we're doing two shows. I didn't think it was very fair to our audience. People kept asking me. But one change I did make tonight, just so that we can get off the air early tonight, we're not going to start the process for the In the Spotlight Film TV Awards tonight. I had already made that decision before tonight because I realized that asking any of you to submit anything over the next week with the 4th of July was just going to be too rough. So we're going to start that process next Thursday when we have our next show, and then we'll go from there. So next Thursday, our only show of next week will be when we start that In the Spotlight TV Award process. So that will happen next week. Keep that in mind, next week. All we're going to do tonight is box office beat really quickly, some TV picks of the week, and then a couple entertainment news headlines that you all have submitted in that you want us to discuss or that I think is worthy of discussing. And that's all we're going to do. It's going to be very quick, very, very short. It has to be. We do not have a lot of time tonight. So that's just the way it's going to have to be tonight, unfortunately. But, you know, we'll get the stuff in that we have to get in, and that will be that. Now, a number of you, know that we sometimes throw sports stuff in at entertainment shows. The Phil Jackson thing and the Chris Paul thing. We'll discuss all that next week. We wouldn't have the time to do that tonight in proper fashion anyway. So we will discuss all that next week on next Thursday's show. So stay tuned for that. A couple of you also asked me how we're going to do everything next Thursday because, there's a wrestling pay-per-view. We'll get it all in. It'll just be a packed show, but we'll get it all in next Thursday, so don't worry. We'll be a little bit of wrestling, previewing a pay-per-view. We'll have sports, NBA, and MLB. We'll have everything next Thursday, so stay tuned for that. My co-host is on. Mike's in the spotlight. We're going to move. That just because we have to, and I don't know how long my voice is going to last. So, yeah. So just bear with me on that. And again, I am still feeling under the weather. Not as bad, clearly. I'm not blowing my nose every 5 seconds like I was on Tuesday. Still does trail off a little bit, so bear with me. All right. Without further ado, we have some box office to talk about, and we're going to do this very quickly because it's pretty self-explanatory. Why? Because last weekend, again, one of those weekends where you know what's going to be number one. It's just a matter of by how much and how well that movie performs. On one hand, Transformers did take number one. Expected, correct? Correct. What was not expected was for it to have a franchise low, which, all right, maybe it wasn't quite as expected, but is it really surprising? No, because we've seen this with franchises. You've seen with the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. You see it as you go. You see it as you go along. Whether you're Marvel or DC or something, as you go along, franchise fatigue sets in, especially if you're not a critically supported. If you don't have critics on your side, it tends to wear down pretty quickly. So, you know what? It is what it is. And I think people have gotten to the point where they don't see a point to be doing these movies anymore. And, yeah, overseas helps a little bit, just like it does with Pirates and such, but still. So, you know what? It wasn't too surprising, but at the same time, it wasn't away because I think most people thought it would perform comparably to the last one. So, but it was number one. Now, look. You know what they're going to do here. They're going to disguise what happened and say, well, we open on Wednesday. That's what they always do. Every time Transformers movies open less than the last one, they go, oh, well, we open on Wednesday. So the weekend number drops a little bit. Made a difference. It would have still been down. It would have still been down. Okay, if franchise fatigue sets in, franchise fatigue sets in. Okay, if you're not a good movie, you're not a good movie. It's just the way it is. Just the way it goes. So you know what? But again, number one movie. It's not like it's going to be hurting. Only did 44.6 million. It is what it is. It's going to make its way back. It'll be fine. Wonder Woman continued to do great business. This is only 39.6%, 24.9 million. Very good drop, very good business. Not losing too many theaters. Doing extremely well. It's going to be right up there with Suicide Squad and Batman vs Superman. The question is, will it surpass them? Right now, you would say it has enough juice to do that, but it's going to be close. Will it get to $1 billion? I hope so, for its sake, but we'll see. Cars 3 dropped significantly, 55%, which was not shocking. It was a dead heat between Cars 3 and Wonder Woman for second place. Wonder Woman did get second place, staying put in second place. Cars 3 dropped from first to third. Million. Again, that was expected, though. Always a front-loaded kind of movie as the Cars. And anime movies in general, unless there's something like Frozen or something, are always front-loaded. So, coming in fourth, moving up for fifth, was 47 meters down with a little over 7 million, a 36% drop-off. It actually gained 201 theaters. So based on its first week performance, that helped it gain some theaters, it looks like. So that's good. In its third week, The Mummy fell from fourth to fifth with a little over 6 million, 58% drop off there. Overseas is helping it. So say what you want about the domestic gross, but overseas is helping it. Rounding out the movies over 5 million, All Eyes on Me dropping from third to sixth with 5.8 million, a 78% drop off. Again, not shocking. Always expected to be front loaded, and it was. And then Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man Tell No Tales dropping from 6 to 7, 5.3 million, 39% drop off in its fifth week, which isn't too bad. And again, overseas gross helping that movie. So those are your movies that were all over 5 million, and that's again 7 movies over it, which is not too bad. Everything else under 5 million, including Rough Night, which just continues to perform very poorly, which we talked about last week. Was you can blame Wonder Woman, but you can also blame the fact that people just didn't buy into what the movie was trying to do and didn't buy into Scarlett Johansson as the lead. I think that's pretty much so. Now that's last week. This week, in a way, except that you have 2 other movies opening, so it's not clear cut what's going to be second and third. It is clear cut what's going to be number one. First off, we had a movie that opened yesterday, Baby Driver, an action crime film from Sony Columbia, opened in 3,226 theaters. It's R-rated, written by Edgar Wright, starring John Berthold, John Hamm, Lily James, Kevin Spacey. Great cast, and a lot of good buzz. It's already pulled in 5.7 million in one day. So it's off and running. Again, though, with it opening on Wednesday, it does hurt its weekend gross, but it's still expected to do, it won't do huge numbers, but it'll do decent. It's R-rated, and it's more of a, I won't say an awards kind of a buzz kind of movie, but it's more of that. It's something that you'd see more in the fall than you were in the summer. Let's put it that way. The biggest, now you go to Friday, which is tomorrow, and the biggest opening this weekend, the movie that's going to be number one, is Despicable Me 3, an animated film for Universal. Opening in 4,529 theaters. It already made 18.3 million overseas. Steve Carell, Kristen Wiig, and Kristen Wiig are back voicing Gru and his wife, and now you got Trey Parker playing the villain. Number one, just by how much? Technically, this is our 4th of July weekend. But we're not, usually we'd say, 4-day numbers, 5-day numbers, whatever. They're not doing that this year because of the way it's falling. But technically, this is your 4th of July weekend. So you're going to get a boost here. So should you expect it to hit 90, 100 million? Especially when maybe some people have Monday and Tuesday off. They might do more of those outdoor activities Monday and Tuesday and hit the movies this weekend. So Despicable Me could hit 100 million. It would be definitely in the 80 to 100 million range for sure. The next biggest release is The House, a comedy from Warner Brothers New Line, opening in 3,134 theaters. Again, R-rated, so 2 R-rated movies in play this week. Starring Will Ferrell and Amy Poehler, been well marketed, and it's got some momentum. I don't know if it'll do huge. R-rated might help hurt it, but I could see it pulling it around 25, 30. If it plays high, if it plays higher, if it plays lower, it'll be around 20. which would probably be good enough for second this weekend, because I don't think Baby Driver is going to get good enough to do second. It's Despicable Me, 80 to 100 million in first. The House, anywhere from like 20 to 30 million in second. Baby Driver around maybe 15, 16 million in third. I do think Wonder Woman will be in fourth, and Wonder Woman could beat Baby Driver. Holiday, it might give it enough of a boost. So it'll be close there. I think Wonder Woman will be right around that 13, 14, $15 million mark too. Baby Driver. That wouldn't surprise me at all. I do think Transformers is going to drop. I do not think it's going to finish in the top four, especially based on the $44 million total. I think it'll be right under Wonder Woman with about 13 million. I guess it could beat Wonder Woman and Baby Driver, but I'm hoping it doesn't, only because I just don't think it should. So I'm going with 13 million there. Cars 3 will drop considerably because of Despicable Me. It'll be around 8, 9 million for that movie. And then everything else I think will be under 5 million because of all the new movies out. I think they'll all just crash below 5 million. So as for this week, and that's what my thoughts were on last week. Mike, do you have anything to add since I've been talking and I get you involved? Oh, he's got a haircut. I just looked at his graphic for the first time.
Yeah. Do I have anything to add? No. It's not like it's TV highlights.
Oh, cool. All right, so that's the box office. I always go to my co-host on, especially during the summer, because I don't watch much TV in the summer. I usually just catch up on any shows, and I haven't gotten a chance to do that yet because I've been working 2 jobs. So, and watching sports and stuff. So I will defer to my co-host on the TV highlights because he's far more knowledgeable on that than I am. So, Mike, go ahead.
All right. Well, way to throw me a curveball. I thought you'd talk for another 40 minutes, but that's okay. That's okay. You've only been talking for about 20. Okay, so what have I seen lately? Well, I'm fully caught up on Doctor Who, and we are now penultimate episode, at least tenure as the Doctor. This featured a return with John Sim as the Master, and I said I'm not going to spoil the big twist at the end. I'm not going to spoil the big twist. It was an action-packed episode. John Sim is the Master, an episode that also has Michelle Gomez as the Mistress. Does not spoil anything. This was promoted, but there is a twist at the end, and I'm not going to spoil it. All I will say is, like, for like the second time in Doctor Who, something like this has happened, and it's shocking. It was fantastic, and unfortunately, today is the final episode with Peter Capaldi as the Doctor, and it's bittersweet because we get to find out who is the new Doctor. I did not even find that out to the Christmas episode. But it's the last episode with Peter Capaldi, who's run. Yes, he had to follow the immensely popular Matt Smith, but he brought a gravitas to the role that only a few actors did. Eccleston brought it, Tennant brought it, Smith had to develop it, but Capaldi had it. Everything about Doctor Who. He was the fucking man. So it's going to be a little bittersweet. So be sure to catch Capaldi's last episode as the Doctor on Saturday. We might get blue balled. I don't know. They might not show us who the new Doctor is. Generally, they do, and then they should have his first real adventure be the Christmas episode, especially if it's like a Eccleston to Smith thing, Eccleston Tennant thing. Who highly recommended. This season was fantastic, and it just flew by. Grantchester's back. That is the one with featuring Sidney the priest and his buddy Jordy the cop, and they go and have mysteries together. We're 2 episodes on Grantchester. It's on Masterpiece Theater, Masterpiece Mystery. That is on Mondays. Highly recommend the show. I want to say season 2. Looking forward to getting my teeth into that. So, Grantchester. Also, speaking of David Tennant, Broadchurch returned, I think either tonight but Broadchurch is coming back, and I think it's this week. I think it was last night. I didn't get a chance to watch Broadchurch. Final season. David Tennant. Something. I forgot what her last name is.
Yeah.
Olivia something. Broadchurch. God. Really quickly. No, as you say.
Yeah. Yeah.
You say really quickly. Let's see, starring Miller. What's Olivia Colman? How could I forget? She's having like career banner years in British media right now. So, but I haven't seen it yet. But I can tell you right now, the big headline coming out of Broadchurch is if you've seen episode 1, good luck holding yourself back from the next 7. Because it's going to be an intriguing mystery. We're going to finally see how all this plays out. I'm really looking forward to it. I will report back next week on all of this. So if you haven't seen it, my recommendations this week all come from England. In America. Oh, we do have one thing that I do recommend from America. It's the first episode of The Gong Show. Will Arnett, Ken Jeong, and Zach Galifianakis, who lost like 60 pounds. Totally different guy. The guest judges. I forgot who the host was. Let's see. I'm looking this up real quick. The host of The Gong Show 2017 is Tommy Madeline. He is a Scottish host. It was utterly ridiculous. We're out there that Tommy Madeline is really Canadian icon Mike Myers, but who knows? Tommy Madeline, according to all official sources, Tommy Madeline is the host of The Gong Show. And I will say his not so peachy double entendres literally make the show. Acts are weird and goofy and cringeworthy. And depending on who they get, it can be funny. We had a good Will Arnett and Zach Galifianakis and Ken Jeong. It was a worthwhile half hour. I'm reviewing. It's there. So I will say The Gong Show is worth your time. Get to watch Boy Band. Thing I'm watching. Because I enjoy the music of boy bands. This is something I denied when I was like 12. But when I was 18, I'm like, do you know who's fucking great? The Backstreet Boys. And by the way, now that I'm the current now, I can say, do you know who's fucking great? The Backstreet Boys. Really are still really good. So curious to see how boy band's going to shape up. If it's anything like the O-Town Making the Band, I am interested. I enjoyed that show. I watched Making the Band. We're
running a lot tonight. We're running a lot about you tonight, for sure.
I own the first O-Town album. I'm not even going to lie. All or Nothing was a great song. I don't know if you remember this. The go ahead.
No, I agree. It was a great song.
Really good song. But I don't know if you remember the MTV's like movie and series about the Faker.
Yeah.
And they released 2 albums, soundtrack, and then they released an actual album to promote the series. And every episode of that show dealt with a song from the album. Like together. I swear, and for some reason, MTV has never released I've mentioned this on the show before, and this is the last thing I'm going to say. MTV, please release Together on Blu-ray DVD. The movie Together is a combo, Pat. There was a pun there, and I hope you caught it. Put them, combine them, ship them out. I will buy that combo pack, and I will sit here and like a loser and watch that series, because Together was a fun movie, really fun like television series. TV, hear me please. It's not like you're just with music.
Yeah.
So there you go. And I gave you extra. If you ever are on the Pirates Band, want to watch an episode of Together, see if I'm full of shit, do it.
You mentioned how Zach Galifianakis lost a lot of weight, right?
Yes, he did.
Austin, have you seen pictures of Jonah Hill?
Yes, he did.
Not only did he lose weight, but the dude's been probably looks like he's been going to the gym with Channing Tatum.
He put on a lot. He put on some muscles. like, are they really doing a 23 Jump Street? Please tell me that. Well, if this is the beginning of 23 Jump Street being a thing, I'm all for it.
Well, I hope that he sticks with this, because he's done the fluctuation thing a little too much. Mm-hmm. At this point, pick the roles that have to do with you being like this, because first of all, it's healthier for him. Second of all, he's put in all that work and put on all that muscle. It'd be a shame to kind of, regress.
Mm-hmm.
He just lost the weight. He actually put on muscle. Like, I couldn't believe it when I saw a picture of him. It's crazy, but good for him. And Zach Galifianakis looks great too. So good for both of them.
Absolutely.
All right. So as I mentioned, we're not going to do the TV award stuff this week. We'll put it off till next week. So the rest of the show, and this is, we're not going to do too much of this. I'm just going to talk about a few things that you all were interested in, a couple of things that I thought were rather interesting. Obviously, a big source of discussion over the last few weeks, and Mike and me can attest to this now because we've seen the movie, is Patty Jenkins coming back to direct Wonder Woman, the sequel. Which apparently they're working on a script, and she's working on the script, but she has not been signed yet. Now she claims that the next time they do it, they want to do a story in America, but it's still set in the past. Now, again, she still has not been signed yet. She's indicated some ideas, but yet we still do not have her sign on. So, now ultimately, I think they're going to sign her, because otherwise they'd have a PR nightmare on their hands. Okay, but asking us over the last week, why do you think they haven't signed her yet? But the other part of this too is Gal Gadot made very little for Wonder Woman and for Batman vs. Superman and for Justice League. She did not make a lot. They're going to have to renegotiate her contract, Woman too, because she's going to make more money and she deserves to. She did a fantastic job, and her movie's drawing big money on its own. So, you're going to have her making more money. obviously Patty Jenkins is probably going to want more money. So is it a money situation? Well, we don't want to pay her and Gal big money. Is it, well, we don't like the fact that she's getting all the credit and we're not. We're still the people that almost destroyed the DC cinematic universe while Patty's saving it. I mean, what is an ego thing? What is the reason why it's taken this long to sign a director that has put the DC cinematic universe on her back and saved it? The truth be told, folks, I don't know what the reasoning is. Because I don't think it's egos at work. I don't think they care enough. I don't think they think about it enough for the egos to be at work. And money-wise, look, even though Batman vs. Superman and Suicide Squad and Man of Steel were very good movies, they still made a lot of money. So the money is there. This isn't a case of, well, we don't have the money. The money's there. So I honestly don't know what the reasoning is. Maybe it's we want to see what she comes up with first, and then if we want a different creative direction, we'll go. I don't know. Although we joked about it on the show, and I don't even think it was a joke. I think it's true. They didn't give a crap about Wonder Woman until it came out and started doing and pleasing critics and fans. It was there. You never heard barely any discussion during production. You know, there was barely any talk. You didn't see a whole lot of hype. It was just, hey, they're filming the movie. Oh, the movie's done filming. So now they care. See, this is what I'm talking about. So, Mike, your thoughts. Why do you think they haven't signed her yet?
Because they dumb. Because they really, really dumb. Like, here's a story that kind of went almost viral today. Like, one of the biggest stories on Twitter was that she gave an interview to, like, Comic Book Resources or something, and she was kind of sharing her ideas that what she would do with Wonder Woman 2. And everyone took it as a sign that she had re-signed back for Wonder Woman 2. You know, it's a thing. And unfortunately, she had to put out on Twitter, let's see, hey, all, thanks for the excitement, but that wasn't a conversation. About ideas and hopes, but still excited and hopeful. Wonder Woman 2. So, unfortunately, they still haven't learned their damn lesson and signed Patty Jenkins. What is taking them so long? Let's see. This movie is on pace to be the highest grossing DC movie of their extended universe. This movie is currently the most critically successful movie of the entire DC extended universe. This is the best story of the DC extended universe. The best acting of the DC extended universe. So why haven't they resigned her? It was because they dumb.
Yeah. I mean,
because they're dumb. It could be jealousy. It could be a million things, but it's mostly because they're stupid. You wanted that movie blown up. They should have brought her in and say, hey, no, we don't want to overspend here, but we know we're fucked. How many movies can we get you for? That's how they should have phrased it. And they should have done the same thing to Gal. Same thing for her. They should have said, we know we underpaid you, and now we know you're fucking great.
Yeah.
Fucked up. Here's some extra money.
Well, I will say this much. I highly suspect we're going to get reports of reshoots this summer to get more Wonder Woman in the Justice League. Expect that will happen.
Hopefully they won't. And hopefully they won't pair her off.
No, I hope not either.
Any of the other things.
I mean, look, they've done reshoots for their other movies late in the game. I think they'll do it here, but they'll do it for the right reason. Even though it's reported that she's in that movie a lot. You know, now she's pretty much your jewel of your cinematic universe. You better use her. effectively. So I fully suspect that we'll get some reports of reshoots probably over the next couple of weeks. And that wouldn't surprise me at all, to be honest. All right, interesting report today. So apparently there's a Jetsons live action TV series in development.
Nope.
Now, apparently this follows on the reports of a live action movie still being in development. The last report was that they were going to do an animated movie with Robert Rodriguez as one of the creative heads, and that kind of fell off. Now, apparently they're looking back at a live action film and also a live action TV series. So this has got a lot of play today only because of the fact that, you think back to the 90s, and this was a popular thing. The Flintstones came out. Everybody thought that the Jetsons was the next logical step. Never really happened. And, I like the idea. I kind of like the TV series idea better than the movie. Only because I think you could do like a Netflix thing and do like 8 episodes, and it could be really cool. But again, it's one of those things you have to be careful with, because it might, even though it's a futuristic TV show, the humor could end up being too dated. You want to make sure that you make it more contemporary, while at the same time keeping the charm too. It's a difficult thing to do. And this, in the 90s, you wouldn't have had too much of a problem with it. But now, it's been such a long time. I don't, but we'll see. It's an interesting thing. I heard you say no, Mike. You don't like it?
What?
The whole idea of a Jetsons live-action TV series?
The only Jetsons thing that I actively want to see and give a shit about is the Jetsons go to WrestleMania, and I still haven't seen it yet.
No, that is...
Just think about it. Because if the Big Show doesn't take over, and this is real-life Big Show, doesn't take over the live-action Jetsons world, then I'm calling bullshit, and I don't care.
Hey.
So it all depends on whether or not the Big Show is there, and they have to go back in time to get Sheamus and Seth Rollins to save the day.
Yeah.
And Braun Strowman, because he's not finished with him yet.
Now, this is a story that I'm surprised is not getting more play. Kind of like the writer's strike possibility back 2 months ago, which we evaded. But in case people are not paying attention, SAG and AFTRA might enforce a strike tomorrow. If ongoing negotiations for a new film and TV contract failed to produce a fair deal, they met yesterday in an informational meeting. They are united. They have said if they don't get a better deal, because apparently they were completely lowballed on the latest offer. If they don't get a new deal, if they don't get a deal that they think is fair by tomorrow, they're fully prepared to vote to authorize a strike. Now, let me give you all a little perspective on this. I think the last Actors Guild strike was in the 80s, if I remember correctly. If you have a writer's strike, you can have what they call scabs. Writers that are willing to cross the picket line and fill in for other writers, and in some cases, shows can go on. With actors, you're not going to really find that. The productions are going to completely shut down. Now, this hurts movies right now more than it hurts TV shows. There ain't a whole lot of TV shows in production right now. There are some, but not a whole lot. But obviously, a lot of TV shows will be heading back into production at the end of July and early August to start for the fall season. So if this thing were to go, if there was to be a strike, and this thing were to spill out into August, you're looking at what we all feared with the writer's strike, which is that you're going to delay the TV season. Now, the other thing to keep in mind, too, is, and this could make it even more of a mess, is this coming February is the Winter Olympics. Now, it'd be more of a mess for NBC because they obviously preempt a lot of their primetime shows in February. But a lot of other networks react accordingly, too, and don't air things opposite the Olympics. So between the Olympics and the possibility of a strike here, you'd have a mess of a TV season. So this bears watching, and tomorrow is going to be a very, very big day for this because, like I said, they had their informational meeting yesterday. If there's not a better deal, or at least something that they can work with and say, hey, we're not going to vote right now because we feel like they've kind of progressed enough where we can negotiate some more. If there's not significant progress by tomorrow, then you're looking at a strike. Because, the actors have, and for anybody that's like, oh, well, I hate that they keep doing, I kind of get the complaint with the writers because the writers have been threatening strikes and had strikes over and over again. The actors have not. The actors have always kind of, gave in and let it go. The actors have seen the studios and the writers and everybody else get their share. Now they want theirs. So it's, this is going to be interesting to see happen. Very interesting to see happen tomorrow. And, stay tuned because it's going to be, this is something that could cripple Hollywood. So we'll see what happens. Mike, you have any thoughts?
I didn't even hear about this story. So the actors are going to go on strike or the writers?
The actors. The writers were almost on strike back in April, but there was an 11th hour deal made to prevent it.
So, yeah, I can see why the actors would probably want to get theirs. But the thing with actors is like, all right, you do have your big, can't miss draws. Like, we'll say The Rock, and we'll say 5 years ago. Maybe even Johnny Depp now. Who knows? Draw. Or you'll say, I don't know, Will Smith. You'll say Chris Evans. You'll say guys like that. Robert Downey Jr. Name draws actors, and now you have big actresses. Meryl Streep. You have, despite last movie did Scarlett Johansson. You're going to have even now Gal Gadot. Yeah, big name actors and actresses. For every one actor who has a role, there's 100 to 200 actors audition for that role. Could get that role. Hey, it's a sense. I'm not saying they are, but I'm there's almost actors are more expendable than writers, directors, producers. There's a sense. There's so many people trying to be an actor. So many people trying to get that one role that would give them their big break.
Right.
Almost like having a strike like this would kind of open up that glass ceiling. Okay, well, you guys want X amount of money guaranteed, while this guy who has never had another role, we can get him for way less. Just a sense that they're expendable. On the other hand, yeah, directors and producers and writers, they got theirs. Right. They have good deals with these studios. Studios might see these actors as almost expendable to an extent, even if they are, and these actors that they brought on, these scab actors, blow up, they're going to want to get paid too. Vicious cycle.
Right.
So on the other hand, you might as well, and these actors and actresses do deserve, they do deserve money, they do deserve the same that the other parts of the industry are offered. So,
right.
It's an argument, but in order to create the vicious cycle, studios should probably pony up and just give them get the deal that they want.
Right.
Because if they, it'll cost way more in the end just to have to pay the actors what they're asking at the table.
Right.
So,
And of course, the added part of this, and what really is the biggest force in that room right now is probably the female actors, because they're the ones that feel like they're not getting fair pay. Look what Gal made for the first 3 DC movies she was in. They're the ones that feel like they're not getting fairly paid. They're the ones that are probably really pushing this, saying, hey, we need better pay. So you're going to have that force to deal with in this too. That's been a big campaign for the last 2 years that we've seen. So keep an eye out for that as well over the next couple of days, because that's going to be a player in this too. Last thing, I'm going to give a shout out here. The Academy, the movie Academy, Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, has a board of governors, and they're the ones that set the strategic vision of the Academy. Preserve the organizational financial health, ensure the fulfillment of its mission. They're the ones that have a lot of influence over the Academy. And as you know, over the last couple of years, they've been trying to make changes, get younger, get more better perspective, more diversity into the Academy. Well, they just elected, now the other people in here you're not going to know, but there is one name that just got elected today to the actors branch that I'm sure many people are going to know and be very happy with. Whoopi Goldberg was elected to the Board of Governors today, which is an awesome thing, because she's has a different perspective and comes from a group of actors that is beloved by most fans. The Robin Williams, Billy Crystal grouping. She was always actively interacting with them. So the more fresh perspectives and the more well-liked personalities on this board, the better. Because God knows you can't get any worse than what we've had over the last 15, 20 years. So I like it. She's very opinionated. I think she'll be forceful, and I think she'll add a help. Every little bit helps if we try to stray things away from the way they've been for the Academy over the last 15 years. So Whoopi Goldberg, congratulations to her. That's a pretty cool thing. Pretty cool thing. Everybody else is more on the technical side, but yeah.
And there are a lot of people who were invited to join us recently, including people you thought would have been in there already.
Yeah, go figure.
So figure, but people like John Cho was invited to join the Academy. Key and Peele, Terry Crews. For some reason, I don't know. She's had a long career. Ruth Nega, Academy. I thought would have been, of course, is one of the 25 new members who joined the Academy. There's a lot. But one person I thought would have been a part of the Academy, at least, was only invited this year. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson was not previously a part of the Academy, despite being the biggest fucking star in Hollywood. Last 3 years. Embarrassing. That's very embarrassing, especially if you're the fucking Academy. You're the Academy of Arts and Sciences. You're this big governing body over movies. You want to movies, the most high-profile movies, and reward them. So how do you not have in your number the biggest grossing actor 5 years? It's been about 5, right?
Right.
Even more.
About.
Why?
Well,
that's embarrassing. That's what it is.
You see who else is on this? Was Channing Tatum?
Channing Tatum, yeah.
Now Betty White. Betty White.
Well, here's the thing. I'm pretty sure with Betty White is like she denied it out of spite for years and years and years.
Maybe.
I would guess it was spite, but now she's like, I just don't have it in me to fight anymore.
I like to be in that room when she's in there. That'd be hysterical. It's like sitting there.
I wanted to derail this, but I'm going to derail this right now, real quick. Speaking of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Samantha Bee has her show on TBS called Still Standing.
Right.
Whatever. She's got a show on TBS. I don't know what it's called. Here on before after Conan O'Brien. Well,
Right.
Samantha Bee, she's funny. She had an interview with Elizabeth Warren, and Elizabeth Warren brought her overwhelmingly positive attitude. Unless you're a Republican, and then she's like, she brought her overwhelmingly. And if you're a Republican, you're going to interpret my words as she brought her overwhelmingly combative attitude. B, the show. She did. She was really positive. So, show. Samantha Bee says, "How do you relax?" I watch a lot of TV. Me and my husband and I watch, and this is not the first time she said this. She's like, we watch Ballers, which is the show on HBO starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Rob Corddry. And she interprets Ballers as a man who had to rise from the bottom to accomplish his goals and his dreams. And when he had to have a change in life, he was able, through the power of hard work, to achieve so much. And then Sam B's like, are we sure we're still talking about Ballers? And of course, Senator Warren was like, absolutely, we're talking about Ballers. And she's like, oh, yeah, and Dwayne Johnson. So what Sam B did is she surprised her with Rob Corddry and a cutout picture of The Rock, which, and I've never seen this before, Elizabeth Warren's hard cutout. Worth watching that segment. Warren. Mind. Because The Rock might have been there, and there is a movement on social media now to get The Rock and Elizabeth in the same room. And I wholeheartedly support this. So I'm recommending you watch that Sam B clip. It's on Twitter, it's on Facebook, it's on Instagram. It's on YouTube. Find it.
Yeah. And you're right. It is weird that some of these names weren't already in. Well, Chris Pratt is going in too, which is not shocking either. So a host name. Now, some people think, oh, this is bad for the Academy. They're putting too many people in. Look, they need fresh perspectives. We need to reorganize this thing. It's never going to change if we just don't get the perspectives to change. Okay, you can't just keep the same people involved. It ain't improving with the same people involved. So to do it this way is look, this is going to help. It's going to help. It's a start. That's for sure. All right, so that's all the things that either you wanted us to cover or that I thought we should cover. So we are done for tonight. As always, the show is over, but that does not mean you have to stop interacting in terms of the show. Continue to have your voice heard. Continue to send us your feedback. We need it. We want it. Please keep sending it. Topic ideas or breaking news items related to sports, entertainment, or wrestling that you want us to cover. Reactions, comments, or opinions on things we talked about on the show or anything to do with the show. Any of these things you can do by email, Facebook, and Twitter. You can email us at itspotlight411@gmail.com. You can also follow us and tweet us at itspotlight411. Please remember to use the hashtag itspotlight411 for anything you tweet regarding our show. And, of course, you can find us on Facebook. Just search for In the Spotlight 411 on Facebook, and then make sure that you like our page once you find it, once you're on it. We encourage you to follow us on Facebook and Twitter for the latest information about our show, especially when it comes to scheduling. Obviously, last minute post moments or delays can happen. And we also post random. That's obviously we will post the information should we not be able to tell you ahead of time. So you want to make sure you follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Get that information. Plus, we post other things on there as well, other random things. So you want to make sure you follow us on Facebook and Twitter so you have access to all that. So just search for In the Spotlight 411. Then just search for In the Spotlight 411 on Facebook and Twitter. And you will be able to check out all that information and much, much more. And keep up to date with everything going on with the show. If you'd like to keep up with the show, look back at classic episodes. You can do that in two ways. You can either stream us anytime on Google Plus and YouTube. Just search for In the Spotlight 411. And you'll have access to every episode we've ever produced for Google Plus and YouTube. It's every episode from mid-October 2015 all the way up until tonight's episode. They're all available for you to stream anytime. So search for In the Spotlight 411 on Google Plus and YouTube, and you'll be able to stream those episodes. If you'd like to keep up, if streaming's not your thing, if you'd like to check out, or you'd like to check out older episodes of our show, maybe you want to listen to us on the go, if any of that applies to you, check us out on our main host sites, Podbean and iTunes, to search In the Spotlight 411 on both those sites. And when you're on our show pages on either site, you'll have access to every episode we've ever done over the nearly 7 years we've been doing the show. That's everything for our original Blog Talk Radio run from October 2010 to January 2011. Everything for our talk show run from January 2011 all the way up until mid-October 2015. And, of course, all of our Google Plus and YouTube episodes from mid-October 2015 all the way up until tonight's episode, available in audio format, transferred into audio format for your convenience. All those episodes available to you anytime you wish to listen to on the go, or maybe missed part of an episode, want to check out an episode again. You're a longtime fan, let's check out an episode from 3 or 4 years ago. Or maybe you're a new fan, let's check out an episode like that for the first time, or just keep up with recent episodes or miss the pirate episode, whatever the case may be. You can do all that on Podbean and iTunes. To search for In the Spotlight 411. Again, search for In the Spotlight 411. And you'll be able to listen to those episodes anytime you wish. So Google Plus, YouTube, Podbean, iTunes, always keep up with the show and look back at classic episodes. Google Plus, YouTube, Podbean, iTunes, always keep up with the show and look back at classic episodes. Just search for In the Spotlight 411. Again, search for In the Spotlight 411. And you'll have access to all that. I want to thank Mike for being here tonight. Thank you, Mike. Thank myself for our great show. Pat myself on the back. And thank all of you for your continued support and contributions to the show. Thank you so much for watching. To those that will be watching and listening to this later, or at some point, thank you to you as well. Thank you for bearing with me with my voice. You can tell I keep stopping a little bit because I keep losing it a little bit. So, but I'll be 100% by next week. So, but thank you for bearing with me with that and for the time and being late and everything. Thank you for everything in regards to that. That is it for this week, and that is also it for us having 2 shows until September, unless otherwise noted. So we start out 1 show a week schedule beginning next week. We will not have a show this coming Tuesday. That's the 4th of July. Our next show will be a week from tonight. That's Thursday, July 6th at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. We'll have a lot to do. We got a WWE pay-per-view to preview, and that will be, of course, Great Balls of Fire. That never gets old. We'll talk about that. Got some NBA stuff. Phil Jackson. Chris Paul. Maybe more stuff going on. As free agency will get underway on Saturday. Maybe more trades. We'll see. Maybe a little MLB. The All-Star stuff will be known by then. All-Star selections will be known by then. So maybe we'll talk about those. We'll also have a little bit of entertainment as well. Box office piece. So it'll be a full show. A week from tonight. That's Thursday, July 6th. That will be our next show. We'll also begin the process for the 7th annual In the Spotlight TV Awards. So that will be a very, very big show. Make sure you tune in for that. So until then, I hope you all have a great rest of your night. A great, because it is technically the 4th of July weekend. A great 4th of July weekend. A great 4th of July and a great week. Great start to your week next week. We'll see you back here 1 week from tonight. Next Thursday, July the 6th, broadcasting and streaming live here on YouTube at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Until then, have a good night, everybody.